Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Universal. My name is Neil McKenzie, Director of Marketing here at Universal. And if it's your first time here, welcome. There's a lot to see. The showroom's about 115,000 square feet. We have a number of new product introductions starting on the third floor with a new concept that we call Spaces. And then we also have a new design collaboration with a designer from Houston, Nina Magan, which is a totally different look for us. So a lot to see there. And then on the first floor, we have a new designer's lounge. So if you're here this week, it's a great place to kick back, recharge. There's some fun goodies in there. There's also a bar, which is nice depending on what time of day it is. And there's also caffeine. So depending on kind of where you are in your state. But it looks like it stopped raining out, so we got that going for us. Today, you are in the Learning Center, and we have a number of events this week here in the space. If you haven't RSVP'd, there's still time for other events, so or just pop in depending on what your schedule allows you to do. Today, this is our second event today, and Melissa Galt is here to really help inform you with some of the challenges and opportunities you have just in terms of running your design business. And we've had a chance to get to know Melissa, I guess over the last year, I want to say, and had a lot of good conversations, and we went back and forth on these different topics, given the resources that she has in terms of what she does. We settled on this, and I think you're in for a treat in terms of what she can provide in terms of insight to help you each out on your daily business opportunity and struggle. So, with that, Melissa, I'll let you take it away. Thank you for being here.
I appreciate it.
Can we give him a send-off? Universal is why we're here, and I got to tell you, I was up on the third floor today seeing Nina Magan's new line. Wow. Really, really awesome, particularly if you love modern and contemporary. It's got a European sensibility and a universal price point. That's a pretty rare combination. The lounge is one of my favorites, and I actually will recharge there. I'll take occasional business calls there and catch up on email on the laptop. So avail yourself. Universal is a very special place, and they have phenomenal product at an amazing price point. So definitely while you're here, check out the showroom. So what I'm going to dive into today is create a more profitable design practice. Now, for me, that means less work, more time for design, more time for your life. Does that resonate with anybody? Yeah? Okay, so what is a successful business? Now, my definition of a successful design practice and the definition that the designers I coach and consult with love is a business that informs and inspires, serves and supports, and fuels and feeds the whole of your life. It doesn't swallow you whole. Has anybody here ever been swallowed whole by their design business? Yeah, pretty painful stuff. My first 5 years of business, I said yes to every piece of business that showed up and wound up nearly burning myself out completely until I made some very significant changes that solved that problem. So what we're going to share with you today is a process, a formula as it were, that can solve this and at the same time can help you to stand out. So what you'll learn is how to reveal your real story. And I say your real story because today, honestly, 95% of clients do not care about accreditations, certifications, or your education. They just don't. So those of you that are racing to get your next certification, to put more initials after your name, you're not a doctor, it's not going to help you. Okay? Uncover your points of connection to capture your ideal clients. POC, points of connection, are points of profit. The reality today is that a lot of designers look a lot alike even via their websites. I could look at 20 different designer sites. I could take off their picture and interchange it on the sites, and they would look about the same. Because you're leaving your best bits behind. You're not leading with them. Every once in a while, I'll be reading somebody's bio, and I'll get all the way down to the bottom, and I'm like, oh, that's the juicy stuff. I wanted that at the top. Or I'll see something, and I'll say, oh, gosh, I wish they included a picture of that. And it's usually not to do with their work. It's to do with who they are. Your who factor trumps your what ability every day of the week. This increases your credibility and builds and protects your expert reputation. And this is about mastering the magic of lifetime clients. That's clients who come back to you again and again and again. Every time you need to go search for new clients costs you 30% more dollars in marketing than going back to your existing or former clients and bringing them back on board, which is why staying in touch with them is so important and so valuable, and so many of us fail miserably at it. Okay? I did actually much better at it before email advented. Yes, I have been around that long. But I'm not aging, I'm getting wiser by the moment, because there is no age. And wisdom comes with cake and candles. If you're skipping your cake and candles, you're getting older. Very important to know these things. So I got some gifts for you. Is that cool?
Yeah.
Slides as promised. Nobody has to screenshot. Okay? I want you focused on the learning. I don't want you focused on your phone screenshotting. Besides, you're never going to go back and look at them. They're never going to be clear enough. So I'm just going to send you the slides. Now, in order for me to do that, I'm going to pass around this bowl. Okay? This bowl is by the same woman who made my ring and my earrings. She's a multi-talented. This is for business cards. If you want the slides, you got to enter. I also have a raffle at the end of this. I'm asking you to pass that. Thank you. You have an invite to the Facebook group. I would encourage you to join before the end of market, before the end of the day, because there are goodies up there, including my letter of agreement, templated, 7 pages, that you can download. You don't have to use it, but you can compare it to your own letter of agreement and see if it stands up. Okay? Or you can replace yours with it if you'd like. It is attorney approved. I also have a rates ebook, because I do a presentation on rate transparency. Very hot topic in our industry today, and nobody really wants to hear about it. But everybody has to, because they realize they're losing clients to this. Okay? I do have a strategy to stardom sessions. 2 of them I'm going to raffle off. That's a $4.97 value at the end of today, and that's why I need this also. And I have a live training bonus that I'll get to. So are you winging it? Anybody here feel like they're kind of winging the business of design? You got the design pieces down. The design part's relatively easy. It's the business aspects and the marketing aspects that we're kind of winging it, because school didn't teach it to us. Now, there's some coaches out there. There's some podcasts out there. You can learn bits and pieces, and some of you are getting a whole lot of input, getting really confused in that process, and trying to do piecemeal, and you need to just follow one. I'm not going to tell you which one. I'll let you sort that out. But the reality is, too much input and not enough action is going to keep you stuck and stalled. So I don't want to see that happen to you. Winging it works randomly. Anybody here see the movie with Whoopi Goldberg? Jumpin' Jack Flash?
Yes.
Yeah? Where she whacks a guy over the head with a tennis racket, and she opens the door and finds out it's her colleague, and he says, "What were you doing?" She goes, "I'm winging it." Winging it's hard. Winging it's kind of exhausting. So I want to take you out of winging it today and help you stand out from the crowd. Each one of you represents a one-of-a-kind combination of education, experience, expertise, personal history, personality, hobbies, and interests. There is no one on the face of the planet, not even your twin or triplet, if any of you have one of those, that is exactly like you. But you're not bringing those unique pieces forward, and that's what's going to connect you to more and better clients. If they're a fit, they're going to know instantly. If they're not, they're going to know and they're going to go away. And you want that, because it's hard to say no. So first things first, what do you want? Now, I don't just mean in your business. I mean, in a perfect world, we'd have a workshop of 3 hours to do this in, and I'd literally give you at least 15 minutes to think about what you want your life to look like. Because you remember how I defined a successful business? Is one that serves and supports, informs, and inspires the whole of your life? Most of us jumped into business and just allowed it to take over our lives. That's not working. But you've got to know what you want your life to look like, so we can build the business up around that to deliver it. Do you want more time for fun, friends, and family? Do you want a spa day a couple times a month? every week. Every day. No, it's too much. There's work in there. Somewhere there's work in there. Do you want to travel? Do you want to garden? Do you want to dig in the dirt? I happen to love to garden. I don't do large holes, small holes, quick things, but I love to dig in the dirt. I love to be outdoors. Would you like time to sit and read a book? A real book. From cover to cover, without having it stretch over 3 months because you never get the chance. What would you like time to do? To learn a new skill, to learn to cook? If it's more than 3 minutes and not in the microwave, it's not happening at my house. And I came out of hotel and restaurant school. I know how to cook. I just don't do it. So what do you want? You've got to answer that question. And I decided to go a little different route here. Instead of asking you for your ideal client, because I get the same response all the time, which is they got to have disposable income, and they got to trust me completely, and they got to have a big budget. And I'm like, yeah, no, that's not an ideal client. That's like a population of people that is untargeted. Identify your ideal project. My ideal project, 90 days. I can do a reno, I can do remodel, or I can do just design and decorate, or I can do all three. As crazy as that sounds, I really can, I do this. But I want 90 days. And I want you on board, and I want you off-site. Off-site. Renovating, remodeling with you there is not fun, okay? And I'm already gonna have complete control because I don't take on projects without it. But I don't have to tell you that because I've taken control from the start. I'm gonna show you how to do that. Define your ideal design practice. What do you want your days to look like? How do you want them to unfold? I would challenge each one of you to sit down and just write this out. 1 page, your ideal day. If you want to have 3 ideal days, write down 3 ideal days. But if you're not writing it down and getting clear on what that means, there's no hope of you ever having it. And I'm betting for a lot of you it means outsourcing some things you don't like to do. Or deleting them, okay? The team building and outsourcing is a whole other training, but we're going to touch on it here. So who do you want to meet for your ideal project? Who do you want to meet in terms of team? And who do you want to meet in terms of the client? Once you know what your ideal project looks like, it's almost easier to find your ideal client for that. Because it's not everybody. Thank you. It's not everybody. So I want to share success stories from time to time because I want you to know you're not alone. C.R.E.A.T.E is extraordinary. She started her business 18 months ago, came fresh out of school, C.R.E.A.T.E in Atlanta. And our first phone call was about her business card, which was kind of an interesting way to start. At the beginning of this year, Daring Hall and Elle Decor found her on Instagram and are featuring her now on their website. Most of us work for that. And it simply happened because she had worked so consistently over the last, it was 15 months at that point. She photographs every single project. She gets testimonials from every single client. She doesn't take a job if it's not going to deliver testimonials and great photography. And she starts replacing all those images from school, because that's how she started. She didn't have anything else to start with. She had her outstanding school projects. She still has 1 school project up on her site. I checked the other day. This is an amazing story. And it happened also because she had me in her back pocket every week with something called the cocktail club. Now, for those of you who don't do cocktails, that's okay. You don't actually have to drink anything. And it's not in person, it's email anyway. I'm never going to know what you're having. You could have a glass of champagne or a cup of coffee. But having me in her back pocket like that made all the difference in the world. She knew that every single week she'd be held accountable for what she got done. She'd have support for what she didn't get done. She'd have me saying, hey, that's not a good use of your time. Either delegate it or delete it. And she'd have me providing 1 single bite-sized strategy for stuck installed places. That made all the difference. So this is about unlocking your star factor, much like Radhika has unlocked hers. And the beautiful part about starting at this point in her life is she doesn't have all the baggage that a lot of us have. So we've got to let those thoughts go. We've got to approach this with a beginner's mind, which is hard because I'm dealing with a room full of a lot of experts. I get that. I really do. Let's play a game. Now, some of you may not feel like standing up, but I'm going to ask you to stand up anyway. If you really don't want to stand, I get it. You can stay seated, but you'll have to stand at some point in the game to make this work. You're not going to be up for that long, I promise. But I want to play the points of connection game with you, with me as the point of connection, giving you what my points of connection are, because I think I'm connected to every single person in this room, and it has nothing to do with High Point Market, and it has nothing to do with being in design. You guys ready to play?
Yes.
So when we all stand up, when I say something that delivers a tell me more, so that means if I say, for example, where I was born and raised, and you were from there too, or you have a heavy connection to that location, you can sit down, okay? So let's start it this way. This will also give you a feel a little bit more about who I am. Where have you lived? I've lived a lot of different places, but here's the beautiful part about this. If you've only lived in one place your whole life, that still makes you special. I don't want you thinking anything less than that. I was born and raised in Los Angeles. I was taken back to Australia, the wilds of the outback, on a ranch for my first 18 months. Then we moved to Hawaii in Honolulu. Then we moved to New Mexico. Then we moved back to LA. And I didn't leave LA until I went to boarding school in Massachusetts, Groton. And my mother actually remarried and moved across country, so we moved to Connecticut. Then I spent 4 years in upstate New York, Ithaca, at Cornell, in the frozen tundra, getting a degree. And then I leapt out into the wild blue yonder of hotel purchasing. If you ate it, drank it, wrote with it, or slept on it, I bought it. And I wound up in Rye-Town, New York, Philadelphia, Grand Hotel Mackinac Island for a summer, Charlotte, North Carolina, Nashville, Tennessee, Birmingham, Alabama. I'm forgetting some of the places. Birmingham, Alabama, Athens, Greece. This could be a tough crowd. Wow, a tough crowd, okay. Athens, Greece, and now Atlanta for about 35 years. So where did I attended college at Cornell. Anybody have a Cornell connection, whether it's you, could be a spouse, could be a son or daughter, a niece or nephew? No Cornell connections, okay? You're not missing a thing, by the way. Married, single, divorced, widow. Okay, I know, everybody here's married, single, divorced, widow. I got that, this is your sit-down moment, but I want to share this with you because some of you guys are missing this, okay? Now, I'm single, not yet married. I'm an optimist. I've also dodged 4 divorces. I keep my clients married because they don't want to hear my dating stories of horror, okay? I can cut up with the single and divorced folks and the widowed folks because we're all single together and we're out there still trying it. So if you have clients who are married and you're married too, you can relate from being married, from being, especially if you're a parent. Parents can relate cross-generationally. So do you have kids? This is where your kids, who have been a liability up until now, become an asset. An asset. Because if you're hanging out at the soccer field on Saturday or the swim meet on a Tuesday night, you're meeting other parents, and guess what? They're potential clients. They're potential clients. If you've got, your child is in college now, you need to be going to those parent events in college, especially if you were paying out-of-state tuition, et cetera, because those are opportunities to meet potential clients. Maybe you want to get involved in the PTA, okay? Anything, if your child is in ballet, if they're in dance of any kind, if they're in music, if they're taking lessons, violin, piano, anything like that, those are opportunities to connect with other parents. Do you participate in exercise? Anybody here a spin biker? I'm a spin biker, big time. Yeah, spin bikers, sit down. Okay? Pilates people can sit, bar people can sit. These are the 3 forms of exercise I do not. I mean, I do. Mainly spin biking, kind of a nut about that. Do you follow pro sports? Now, I don't follow pro sports, but if you follow pro sports, you can sit. I got this team up here because they kind of go with my outfit. That's how I pick my teams. I'm really not bet on any teams that I pick, by the way. It's a good idea. Do you play a sport like tennis, like golf? These are points of connection. If you play sports like this, you ought to be out there meeting your clients on the course, on the court, fishing. Look for the luxury expeditions, okay? Do you volunteer? Volunteering can deliver amazing clients to you. It truly, truly can. I have volunteered for a couple of committees. One is Partnership Against Domestic Violence. Interestingly, one of my best clients showed up at that same meeting, and I wound up meeting another client through that. So volunteering can be very powerful, whether you do it at a committee level or whether you do it at a once a week or a once a month level. But volunteering puts you in contact with a lot of successful people. Where have you traveled? Okay, I might get some more seats down on this one, let's see. Okay, so I've been to France, Italy, Denmark. Yeah, it was Italy that hit that one. France, Italy, Denmark, Spain, Portugal, safari in Africa, India, Nepal, Dubai, China twice. Don't really need to go back. Wow, you guys are tough. Okay. That's it for my travel so far. Oh, and 45 or 46 of the 50 states. And you got pets, okay? I've had the following pets. I've had dogs, cats, guinea pigs, bunnies, hamsters, goldfish, and turtles. Never all at once. Okay? Pets, your pets are a point of connection. They totally are. I actually have a client that she and I bonded because we were both single females, entrepreneurial, and we both love cats. I created her entire townhome based on her kitty cat, who was gray with lime green eyes. And this was a project that went from $70K, thought she was doing the kitchen reno and the master bedroom, and it turned into all 3 stories in 90 days, $500,000. This is what happens when you find your points of connection. You are able to increase the value of the projects without selling, without pushing, with no manipulation. You just step in and you've connected, and they trust you, and you have this bond and rapport. And she would come to the site on the 3 occasions that I asked her to, and she said, I put blinders on. I wouldn't even look at anything because I knew that whatever reveal you gave me was going to be so far bigger than my imagination could ever have handled. And she loves to say that I ruined her for 5-star hotels, which is a heck of a testimonial. Okay, I love that. But you can have the exact same thing, and I have a habit of doubling and tripling and quadrupling investments in projects because they don't understand how big it can be, and we do. But most designers won't tell them how big it can be. They don't tell them the possibilities because they're working for this. And I want you to expand that. I don't work with budgets. It's a B word. I don't use it. I use the word investment. Okay? Who is your family? Yes, that's my great-granddad. Isn't that fun? I think most of y'all recognize him. He designed Falling Water and Guggenheim. So some of you may have some sort of family connection that's valuable that you can bring in. Now, for years, I've kept him real quiet. And I've had more people jump up and down at me and tell me that's just silly, Melissa, design is in your genes. You need to be shouting that from the rooftops. I'm trying. I'm at Universal right now. We're going to start here. But he was, by the way, a notoriously poor businessman. He was a genius creative. And he still managed to make it all work. So it's all possible. So we've just connected and related. Do you all kind of feel that way? Now you know a little something about me, and you're like, hey, yeah, you know, I had a gerbil once too. I had a guinea pig once too, okay? I would really encourage you in your bios online to get more personal. Put them in first person instead of third person. Don't be grand about it. Make it real. Make it friendly. And I'd love to see at least 3 pictures of each of you, and not one of them being a headshot. How boring. Who needs a headshot anyway? Someone take your driver's license, for crying out loud. Okay, now you need the headshot. You need the headshot for social media. Okay, we're going to get there. But what I really want to see you do is, I want to see a picture of you and pets, if you have them. I want to see a picture of you and some family, if you have it. If you have it. I mean, I'm single, no kids. I don't have that. And I don't think my cat will stay still for a photo, so that's not happening. But those of you with dogs particularly, leverage the dogs. People love dogs across the board, highly leverageable. If you think you might like a dog, get one. All right? If you have a hobby that has relationship to design, we don't just do design, we are design. Do you guys agree with me on that? We are design. It's who we are. So our whole lives are infused by design. I want to encourage you to bring that forward. So I would have no problem getting a picture of me in the garden. I would sooner put a picture of me in the garden than I would me on a spin bike. That's not as interesting. Especially since I do exterior design, and I'm betting most of you do too, because I just see it as an extension of the interior. Boom. So what other pictures can you share? If you love to cook Italian, let's get a picture of you cooking Italian in the kitchen. That's a point of connection with those potential clients. And that's going to make you stand out in the right kind of ways. Okay? So here's some other crazy shots, because design infuses my whole life. And I would encourage you to get shots like this and start posting them through your social media channels and start sharing some of them on your website even. When I went to China, they invited me to do design trends in China. They took me to the panda zoo, that's a real baby panda on my lap with a piece of bamboo. Now, if you put me anywhere in your sculptures, I'm going to leap on top of them. I'm going to interact with them somehow. The swan is at Florida Southern College. So is the bronze sculpture of great-grandfather. I never met the man, but I can hang out with his sculpture. You know, it works. I get to meet some famous designers, Candace Olsen, Jamie Drake, the Scott brothers. That's their cutout. I really have met them, I promise. And they're taller than their cutout. Swim with dolphins, Jane Dagny designers today. Diane Keaton actually owned a house that my great-uncle, son of great-grandfather, designed. How fun was that? And I wear silly hats and whatnot. So the sheep, by the way, are at Interlude Home. I love those sheep. I'm looking for my flock still. And if there's a fuchsia flocked David hanging out, I'm going to hang out with him. That was in Atlanta. So the key is to have fun with this, because when you're having fun, you are at your most magnetic. That's what built my business those first 5 years. That and the fact that I didn't go to any events that had my peers and colleagues at it. Every event I went to for 5 years, I was looking for potential clients. That made sense to me. A lot of designers that I work with are like, oh yeah, I went to an event last week, I went to an ASID event last week, and this week I'm going to go to Design Collective. Okay, are you designing for designers? I didn't think so. Those don't count, okay? So my business is where I experiment so you don't have to. I still do a little bit of design. I do a lion's share of coaching. But I experiment with marketing and mindset. Mindset is what most designers need most. It really is. The systems and processes are often there, but their mindset is not allowing them to take advantage of them. Rates and fees, project management, time management, and team building are all things I experiment with. I don't share what I haven't proven and tested. I don't do theory. And my 80-20 rule, 80% focus on my design tribe, coaching, training, and consulting, and 20% focus on my design clients, residential transformations. Just so you understand where I'm coming from and what the balance of my business is. I will likely always keep my hands in at least 20% because our industry, quite frankly, is changing so fast. It would be crazy for me not to. The changes are not all bad. There has never been a time of greater awareness about design than now. So if you can weather the changes and learn to roll with them instead of resisting them, what you resist persists has never been truer. And when you go like this against something, man, it's going to keep coming at you. Okay? So connect. That's the C in the CREATE process. Connect. We did a bit of that. I did some of that when I went around the room introducing myself. By the way, for those of you who are curious, I am not a full-blown extrovert. Many of you are like, yeah, right. I'm what we call an ambivert. Okay? An ambivert's a half-half, introvert-extrovert. So when I went around the room to do that, that was one of the hardest, scariest things I've ever done. And I want to thank you all for making it so much easier for me, but that was hard for me. I just decided that I wasn't going to be myself in those moments. I was going to be this other fabulous person out here who can do that. And sometimes we need to pull an alter ego forward. Okay? So networking, charitable events, volunteering, social events, culture events, friends and family, and social networks. Where are you investing your time in this? And where is it paying you back? By the way, definition of crazy, doing the same thing, expecting new results. So if you've been doing the same thing, going to the same events, and getting the same 0 results, please stop. You have my permission to stop and find a new event to go and be crazy at. So some of this is social, some of it's not. Current and recognizable pro headshot. That is a mandatory across all networks unless you have a friend who takes killer headshots. It has to be current. I cannot tell you how uncomfortable it is to have people come up to me and start chattering at me, and I'm just trying to put the poker face on, like, oh, great to see you done, and I have no clue who they are. And I later on find out that it's somebody that I know through social channels that bears 0 resemblance to their photo. We all change. Ladies and gentlemen. Gentlemen, you're not exempt from this. I online date. I have very rarely met a man who actually bore a significant resemblance to his photo. I, on the other hand, am told I'm recognizable at 50 feet, so it's working for me. But here's the thing. Please be consistent so that if you change your hair color, if you change your haircut, if you decide to shave your head, change the photo. The whole point to online is to go real time. That's the point. Okay? Go where your ideal client is. Skip your peers. It's safe for you to go to those ASID meetings. I'm not knocking ASID. It's safe for you to go to IDS. It's safe for you to go to Design Collective. It's not as safe and not nearly as comfortable to go to a networking event. Okay? But it can be when you know exactly what to say. All right? Maintain your channels consistently. I would rather you had 1 channel done well than 3 channels done horribly. And I see this a lot. The moment I climb on a designer's website, I check their channels. And I see when the last time they posted was. And if it was like 6 months ago or 2 years ago, like, you know, you might want to remove that from your site. By the way, as a side note to that, those of you that have a house link on your site, if you do not want to advertise for house, I would encourage you to take that off. You can leave your profile up on house, but by putting the house link on your site, you are actually sending potential clients straight to house where they can then connect with other designers. Be very careful about that. It's a very common thing. So pick your channel. 1 or 2. You generally don't need more than that. Many of you are probably on Twitter. You don't need to be there. If you're on Insta and most of your clients are over the age of 55, you need to be on Facebook instead. Okay? Go where your clients are, not where you want to hang out. Go where your clients are. That only makes sense. All right, so relate. This is about uncovering your points of connection. You've got a 3rd page in your success guide there that is your Cliff Note bio. That's what I pulled my questions from today. The beautiful part about this Cliff Note bio is there's no wrong answers because they're all your answers. And I just gave that to you for a cheat sheet as a little reminder of the questions that you want to keep top of mind. So that when you're in conversation with somebody, if you ask them any of those questions, and these are great questions, by the way, for a first conversation, even by phone with a potential client, I'm betting you anything that many of you could take that sheet. You couldn't answer those questions about some of your really current clients now. Am I right? Do you know always where they went to school? Do you know that point of connection? You know about their pets because you got to design around the pets. I get that part. You know that they've got kids, generally speaking. They don't usually hide that part. But there's some, you may not know where they've traveled. And they may have been to some of the exact same places you went. But you don't know, so you can't connect on them. Okay? So, get to know their lifestyle. What's it really like? When you go to their home for an initial consultation, which by the way, mine are always fee-based. I don't do free initial consultations. I've already invested an hour on the phone with them. And that part is complimentary. I don't use the word free, it's complimentary. I have to see every room in the house. I don't care if they said they're only going to do the dining room. It's really important from a design perspective to see every room because every room connects to every other room. And because then I can see the potential and I can provide my suggestions and recommendations for every single room and absolutely knock their socks off. And that's really important. So I got to get in and see the room that looks like the tornado that went through the mobile home park in the master bedroom. Wow. And I got to learn to master that poker face, because I've been there and done that, and that poker face was really struggling that day. You're not there to judge, you're there to assess and provide expertise. And you must be paid, or you're going to go play footsie and hold your hands and have a cup of tea, and nobody's going to be the wiser, and you're not going to have any idea if they're a fit for you, and they're not going to know if you're a fit for them. So that's really pointless. Find your common interests, values, and experiences. We spend a lot of time with our clients. We have to learn the intimate details of their lives. We have to know, why do they need a drawer, and how big does the drawer need to be on their nightstand? Sometimes it's a little more information than we really wanted. Okay? But the reality is, if they're going to be that vulnerable with us, don't you think we need to be a bit more vulnerable with them? We need to really get to understand them. We're also typically working with them longer than 90 days. 90 days is unusual. Many of you are working with your clients a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. It's a long time not to know somebody really well. So relating is incredibly important. Find out what's important to them, and find out where you can connect, where you can create connection with that and relationship. This is about seeking similarities to dissolve differences. When you have those connections, they will get you through those hairy, scary, oh my gosh, we uncovered this spots, or oh, the contractor screwed up, or oh, something else. It's all about relationships. It really and truly is. So make it all about them. Find your points of connection, but you're doing that by making it all about them. Be interested instead of interesting. The key to this is, many of us get those phone calls, or you get those requests that come through your email via your website. And it says, hey, I've got a project and I'd like to talk to you about it, and blah, blah, blah. Okay, so then you get on the phone. Their first question is, what's the first question? How much do you charge, or how do you work? Same difference, really. And you say, you know what, before we go there, I'd love to find out a bit more about your project. I kind of want to know a bit about your lifestyle. And let's explore if this is really going to be a fit. And in order to do that, I have a whole design discovery conversation I'd love to have with you. I've got a little time right now where we can schedule that for tomorrow at 3. Okay, what you've just done is suddenly back them up to a place where they're like, ooh, this is a bigger deal than I thought it was. Oh, design's going to be significant. Oh, this isn't just, I'm no longer shopping Walmart. Okay? I know the temptation is just to give them the answer. Don't. The moment you give them the answer, they got what they thought they needed, which, by the way, is not what they really needed, and they'll leave. Because they are shopping by price. You don't want a client that shops by price. You absolutely don't. So if they're not willing to have a design discovery conversation with you, you don't need to work with them. Period, flat out, end of statement. That they're just not going to be a good fit for you. Unless you specialize in DIYers, but even DIYers have got to understand more than that. Okay? So it's really important that you take control from the first sentence. And you say, I'd love to share those details with you. I just really want to capture a bit more information about the project and find out about your lifestyle. Design is an investment in your comfort and style. You're going to be living with what we do. Assume they're already yours, okay? You're going to be living with what we do for the next 10 or 20 years. It's kind of a big deal. So you've just reframed design into something really significant. And they're going to go, oh, well, I think I might want to have that design discovery call with you. And if they say, no, this is just a quick project, I'm just going to, okay, fine. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Unless you specialize in that. Most of you don't. Focus on the outcome. Make it about how they're going to feel in the space and how the space is going to perform for them. Don't make it about individual pieces. And establish rapport and build trust every step of the way. So educate. How are you going to educate? You notice this formula doesn't have an S in it? It doesn't have an S because I don't ever sell. Sell's a 4-letter word. It's kind of like mall. I don't do malls and I don't sell. Okay? I'll do boutiques. I don't do malls. And I don't sell. I educate instead. I educate into the value of design. Not the value of the sofa, not the value of the refrigerator, not the value of the bed, the value of design. That's the gap. Now, today you can do it via blog, via video, via Facebook, via Instagram, or speaking locally. Here's the beautiful thing. You don't have to do them all. Okay? I want to pull you back from the edge, and I want you to get really clear on what do you like to do and what are you good at most. I love to speak. Love it. It's actually what built my business the first time around because I spoke at Evening at Emory for 10 years to consumers. More importantly, my name was scattered across their catalogs. You got a local university or local college that does evening education programs, not for students per se, but for busy professionals who want to learn more. Be a phenomenal avenue. But only if you love to speak. If you don't love to speak, don't pursue that avenue. Do not put yourself in a scenario where you're marketing against who you are. If you don't write well or writing is hard for you, don't blog. But if video is easy, do a video blog. You can always have it transcribed and put that up. Okay? Here's the thing, all of these have to be done very regularly. So that's why it has to be something that you're comfortable with. Because if you're constantly fighting who you are and the fact that, well, I can't write and I hate writing and writing's miserable and every blog post takes me a day and a half, I don't want to hear you lost a day and a half to a blog. I want to hear that you spent, an hour on a blog. Okay? And believe me, I've talked to lots of designers who spend a day and a half on a blog. I'm like, wow. Okay? You are an expert. Be the expert you are. You have an amazing amount of expertise to impart. Not just about design, but about how to live, how to have a lifestyle. Now, you guys don't think you've mastered it, but trust me, you're a whole lot farther along the path than a lot of your clients. Okay? It's not about how much money you have, it's what you do with it. And you know how to invest it in the right pieces, the right activities, the right opportunities to create a rich life. Am I right? And if you don't, you're lying to yourself, and I need you to fix that. Okay? So be the expert that you are. Select 1 to 3 formats of education only. 1 to 3, not all 5, and not necessarily 3. Be consistent and persistent in that education. A blog post that you send once a month, I'll let you skate on that, but it better be once a month, the same day, same time, every month. I'd really rather see it bi-weekly. That's twice a month. And the same thing applies, on a schedule. If you are not doing this on a schedule, it's pointless. Completely pointless. Some of you are like, yeah, when I get to it, it might be 3 times a year. I go and I read people's blogs and I'm like, wait, they last posted December of 2018? Where are we now? That's not frequent enough. Not at all. Create opportunities to work with you with every piece of education. You can put an ask in there. Call me for this today. Email me for that today. Make it time sensitive. Say available until and put a date on it. If you don't create urgency, your clients won't. And grow your expertise, never assume they know. Wonderful story about this one. Years ago, when St. Cecilia was big, you remember when St. Cecilia was big? I know it's not big anymore. I know now it's all quartz and quartzite. But years ago, St. Cecilia was big, and it had all those bits of garnet coming up out of it. Well, we all knew that. Well, I just assumed my client knew that. And so we were having conversations about her kitchen and different granites, and, came back about a week later, and she goes, oh, I learned this about this granite, and it's got these bits of garnet coming out of it. And I'm like, oh, I could have told her and been the genius, and I blew it, because I thought she knew. So never miss an opportunity to be the genius. Even if you think, well, I'm sure they know this. So you say, well, did you know that? And they'll either go, yes, I did, or, oh, no, that's so interesting. Okay? They love our knowledge, but we have a tendency to just assume everybody knows we know, and they totally don't. So being here at market is particularly important because you should be looking at everything as if you've never seen it before. And taking these nuggets of wisdom back, including walking them through the construction of a bureau and showing them what a dovetail joint is, showing them what it means to have a stop on a drawer versus a full extension storage. When you start showing them this, they start going, oh, well, yeah, I want a full extension drawer. I don't want any stops on the drawers. Okay? That up levels what they're going to invest in the project. That helps them understand better. So Alexia has gone through the C.R.E.A.T.E process, and when she came to me, I thought things were going well in her business until we started talking. Turns out she was in the middle of a serious confidence crisis. She didn't have business coming in the door. But she made it look really good by having an amazingly well-curated Instagram feed. But that underlying sense of desperation and lack of confidence was really, really challenging her ability to get business in the door. So we put a solid plan of action together that was unique to her because there's no one-size-fits-all. And I'm thrilled to say that she's completely turned things around. In fact, I just saw her at a recent event, and she told me that she had picked up a client last year with a kitchen job, which was really out of her wheelhouse. She and I had a large coaching session around that because she had no familiarity with that. That same client took a position in Texas, is doing a design build, 7,000 square feet, and guess who's doing the project? Alexia is. And fortunately, I caught her before she quoted the client day rate because she wasn't familiar with doing day rates, and she was about to quote a third of what she should have quoted, so I got her corrected really quickly and back on track on that one. So she was used to doing hourly or project costs, and she wasn't used to day rate, and that was, you have to do day rate when you travel like that. So that was going to create a problem for her. And day rate is not just a straight hourly calculation. You have to be careful about that. So it made a big difference for her, and having that no BS, because I'm very direct, you guys have already figured that part out. I love design, I love what we do, but I will do my darndest to get you out of stuck installed as fast as I possibly can because it doesn't serve you. So activate. You gotta activate by creating a routine of impact weekly. How many of you leave market with the greatest of intentions? You're gonna implement all these cool systems and processes, and 6 months later you're like, I don't know what happened. And it's because you didn't have a plan of action in place. You didn't ever activate. Without activation, nothing changes. So it's really important that you activate. And when I say a routine of impact weekly, I mean this is blocked on your calendar. If we were doing the time management series right now, you'd be learning what time blocking is, and every day at a certain hour, you would have your hour set aside for your marketing. And you get to pick what hour that is. I don't dictate that. But if you don't have it set aside and blocked, and if you don't honor that, it's not going to happen. And what will happen is you will stay focused on the business you have until it dries up, and then you're going to have that dry period, and then scramble, 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 instead of keeping a pipeline filled because you are continually marketing at a comfortable pace. Okay? This is also about tracking your results so you can improve. You cannot improve if you don't track. I ask designers when I talk with y'all, I love to find out, how was your last year? What was your number for last year? What's your number for this year? Where are you? I get so many that can't tell me. It stuns me. I don't know how to improve if you're not keeping some basic numbers in mind. Numbers can be your friend. Numbers can be fun. Numbers are fun when they're growing. And by the way, I don't do my own numbers. I mean, I have a bookkeeper, I have an accountant. I had those people on board before I ever opened my doors, because I know what I'm not good at. Play to your strengths. Don't compensate for your weaknesses. Outsource, outsource, outsource. And it can be done online. Does not have to be in your physical town, okay? Fortune is in your follow-up. Every call I went on for the first 5 years of my business, I sent a handwritten thank you note. Every single call. It didn't matter whether it was my first call with you or my 15th call with you. I sent a thank you note, a tiny recap, and a look forward to. And email advented, it was the sorriest thing that ever happened to my business. Because I stopped doing that. And now, I'm a huge advocate of, and do this with my own clients, a weekly recap. You pick the day, but every single client that has an active project with you gets an update, even if it's only to say, hey, we're still on track for that installation on June 14th. So they know you're still on top of it. They don't go weeks or even a month or more without hearing from you because everything's on order.
Are
Okay?
you doing that via a phone call or email?
You can do email. The beautiful part with email is you have it to track. That's real helpful, but you should ask your client for a let me know you got this sort of thing. So you know they're actually reading those updates. And it gives them a lot of peace of mind, especially when they've invested a lot of money and there's sometimes 4, 6, 8, 12 weeks of not a whole lot going on because you did all that work at the front and then you're going to do a whole lot at the back, but there's that period in the middle. Really important that you stay up with them. And at the same time you send the update, you could send a link to an article, you could send a link to a video, you could send a link to something cool and interesting that they go, oh, thanks for that tidbit. If you don't have a newsletter, and many of you don't, many of you have newsletters that are incredibly erratic. More like news chirps, not a newsletter. Okay? And provide value in advance. And when I say value in advance, can you imagine calling somebody up? Potential investment can be anywhere from about $5K to $5 million, and asking them a few questions and then starting to work with them? But they haven't actually, you don't have any idea that they actually can do what they say they can do, other than reading their website? That's pretty much what we're asking people to do. That's why you need that discovery process by phone. You need the next step, which is the in-person consultation. And in that in-person consultation, I want you being free with your ideas, because here's the thing, ideas don't have value. What has value is implementation. As a designer, you are paid for the implementation of your genius. Your genius by itself, I won't say it's worthless, because that would be harsh, and I don't want to think my own ideas are worthless. But really and truly, the challenge becomes, they're not going to implement your ideas. You don't have to worry about it. You really don't. They take 1 or 2 big whoop-de-doo. It's never going to look the way it did when you suggested it. So don't worry about that. Don't play so close to the chest. I have designers say, oh, I'm never going to give them my ideas. Your ideas aren't what they want. They want the implementation. They want the magic wand. They want to be able to leave, for a month and come back and you've HGTV'd it and you've pulled apart the billboards and ta-da! HGTV has taught them about the big reveal. That is one benefit to HGTV. Yeah, there's a lot of non-benefits to HGTV. I get it. That's not what this conversation is about. But value in advance is incredibly important. Don't be shy about that. And explain why you're doing these. I have a habit of putting big rectangular dining tables on a 45-degree angle whenever I can. And I always explain why I'm going to do that, what it's going to mean to the space, and then if I'm dealing with a him and a her, and him isn't there when I do this, and it's a traditional scenario, then I'll say, would you like me to write a note to your husband so that he won't get upset and he'll be okay with this for 7 days, because by the end of 7 days, he will have gotten used to it and he won't want to move back again. Okay? So when you say fun things like that, they get it, because they understand you're in their head. Because she's thinking, oh no, he's going to hate this. What am I going to do? I don't want to have to deal with him. And I'll say, hey, if there's a problem, you have him call me. Okay? But I've explained all that and I've told why I'm going to do it. And that's not even the project. That's just one tiny thing I did while I happened to be at the house, not a big deal. Okay? Or give them a little assessment of the outside of the house at the same time. Say, I noticed you might want a new welcome mat. And have you thought about doing some seasonal planting? We sort of thought about, thank you for bringing that up. Or I'd be happy to help you get a new mailbox. It's not really suiting the level of your home at this stage of the game. So value in advance really makes a big, big difference. And it's about that activation is team-based. So how many of you here have a team of even one? Team of 1, okay. Team of 2? Team of 3? Okay, 4, 5? Okay. Couple of you, awesome. Okay, so here's the thing. You've got team. You understand, I'm betting, the power of having everybody rowing in the same direction. Everybody's got to be pulling for the company at all times. It's got to be a culture fit. At the same time, those of you that don't have team, don't stress. You actually have a lot more team than you think you do, because every vendor you have is a potential team member. Every craftsman you work with, every workshop you work with, they're all team members. You're just not leveraging them. If you were to take your selected list of vendors for any given project and call each vendor and say, okay, I just want to let you know I've landed this particular project and these are the things I'm looking for. Get back to me in 48 hours. You would cut your research time in half. But none of you do that because you don't consider them part of your team. They want to be part of your team. They absolutely do. They know their lines way better than you do. You have to know a whole ton of lines. They know their lines. Let them help you. Harness that power. It's just like if I'm doing a kitchen or a bath and I do cabinetry design, I'll talk to my cabinet man. I'll say, hey Bruce, I want to make it look like this and this and this. What can you do for me? Okay? No, he's not a designer, but he knows construction, and he knows that I'm going to give him chicken scratch because I don't produce fancy drawings. I can if I need to, I outsource it. Okay? I gave up drafting years ago. Years ago. There's just no reason to do it anymore. So, and lest you think that this is unusual, I listen to Ivy from time to time. I don't have Ivy in my business, but I listen to Ivy from time to time. They had an interview on with two gals out of Philadelphia, Waddell and Buschetti. You can look them up on Instagram. Young moms, zero education in design, zero experience in design. One of them had I think a ballerina background. The other one came from some other background. They were both young, married to young entrepreneurial guys, not a lot of money. They both had young kids. They got together and said, you know, we want to be designers. And lo and behold, 3 to 4 years later, they have a 7-figure business because they went after the market of mommies, young mommies just like them. They could take their kids on their calls with them, lots in common, lots of connection, lots of relationship, build it on the back of Instagram, no website for the first couple of years. The power of connection, relationship, and team. And here's the funny part. For the first 2 years, they bought all retail. They did not know about trade buying. You guys know about trade buying, and some of you aren't leveraging it. Some of you are afraid of the showrooms. You've been intimidated. I hate to hear that. It makes me angry, and I want to go punch those showrooms' lights out. Fortunately, I don't do that. Instead, I try to educate them into how to make it easy and comfortable for designers, because some of the showrooms can get a little high and mighty, and there's plenty of showrooms in High Point that didn't used to look at designers twice, and now are scrambling and clamoring for our business. Leverage that, okay? It really does matter. So quick tips, 1 event weekly to meet new potential clients. 1 event weekly. Can everybody do this? Yeah? No? I'm getting a shaky no head over here. Tell me about that now. Can you do 1 every 2 weeks? I'm going to take that baby. I'm going to take that baby. Okay. Strategic engagement and outreach online. Strategic. You can't just blast on Instagram and blast on Facebook and expect to create any attention. You want to outreach to specific individuals. And you want to make sure you're connected to as many of your current and past clients as possible on there. That's acceptable if you've worked with them. It truly is. Build your revenue referrals. Many of you are leaving an insane amount of money on the table because you are not asking for referrals, not in the right ways. Okay? And explore local dedicated networking groups. That's what made the difference for Radhika. She joined a BNI group. She went to 5 other groups first. She didn't give up. She kept going until she found the one that resonated with her. So if you've given up, it's time to start again. Okay? Touch. Email, text, phone, social message via network, snail mail. Touch is all important. You're probably only using 2 of these. You're probably only using text and social message via network. Anybody here still use the power of snail mail? Yeah. Let me share something interesting with you. Years ago, I built my business this way also. It wasn't just the thank yous. Every trip I went on, I would go and buy up to 120 postcards when I landed. And I would take mailing labels with me, and I would put a personal note, and I would mail it for my destination. When I got back, now a good 60 of those were friends and family, but the rest were clients or potential clients. I was on the refrigerator, I was on the desk. They asked me about how was my trip, kept me top of mind. Really, really valuable. Never underestimate the power of letting them know where you are and not via a digital method. So touch by email, text, call, social tap, send a postcard, a snail mail note, an article. My mother used to send articles all the time. Snail mail. You can send it via a link, but guess what? You can also cut it out, pop it into an envelope and send it. Have your assistant do it. Those of you that have team. Use Loom Video for video touch. It's completely free. Sending them a Loom video would completely shock them. They'd be like, oh, I get to see you before next Wednesday. Okay? How many of you know about Google Alerts on your client's name? Okay? Google Alert is completely free. Go to Google, look up Google Alert. You should put their name in quotes. Hopefully they don't have a name like John Smith or you're going to be in trouble. That way, if anything significant happens in their life, you know about it and can congratulate them on it. Make sure it's the right person first. Some names will be trickier that way. I have it on 3 of my relatives, including my great-grandfather. So I find out what they're up to, even though they're all gone. So Sandrine was driving herself crazy. She is a busy mom. She is a wife. She is an artist and a designer. And we had to restructure her rates quickly because she was losing money. That wasn't working very well. But now, because of her points of connection, she's Belgian. She speaks with a beautiful accent. And while she certainly attracts American clients, she also attracts a lot of Europeans because of those points of connection. That made all the difference for her in the world in shifting her business and up-leveling her clientele. So the same C.R.E.A.T.E process works for everyone in a different way. That's what makes the difference. The engage is just you get hired. You've built know, like, and trust, you're going to get hired. And this is not a long process. This process can go from discovery call to initial consultation, letter of agreement presented, you're hired, boom. So it almost took me longer to do this than it takes you to do the process, okay? Once they know, like, and trust you, they can't just know you, they have to like and trust you. They can't just like you, they have to know and trust you. You gotta have all 3 of those built, and this process does that. So the formula spelled out, C is for connect with networking online and offline. And networking isn't the only way to do it. Relate with your experience, your points of connection, which become points of profit. Your story and you, Y-O-U, you, original, unique. I love acronyms, they make it easier for me to remember things. Educate with your experience, your expertise, your enthusiasm. If you're having an off day, don't go meet new clients. Change your attitude before you leave the door. All right? Activate with your routine of impact and value in advance. Touch with scheduled updates. Appreciation. I say thank you with appreciation. So value this. Many different ways to say thank you. And engage with your KLT factor. You'll find yourself hired by more of your ideal clients. I just hired in and of itself isn't hard to do. Hired by your ideal clients is what we really want most. Okay? So, did you learn this, do you think? Crash course? Whew, flew through that one. Fire hose. Okay? Reveal your real story. You understand now how to do that because I gave you that game that we played and everybody here sat down. Now, if somebody sat down and we're supposed to sit down, I'll never know. Okay? Uncover your points of connection to capture your ideal clients. Please bring yourselves more fully into your businesses. Please bring that personality forward and increase your credibility and build and protect your expert reputation. Each one of you in this room is an expert 10 times over. You absolutely are. Never doubt that. And master the magic of lifetime clients and their unlimited profit potential. You never know when somebody's going to have a windfall. I've had a couple of designers come to me that the client just hit some sort of windfall in their business, and all of a sudden they're going from a $500,000 home to a $3 million home, and they need the whole thing done. It happens. So the gifts, I'm gonna send you the slides, everybody whose card that I have in the bowl. You've got the invite to the Facebook group. You've got what's inside the Facebook group, which is my letter of agreement, my rates ebook, and several other things, including my testimonial formula. If you're not getting testimonials, it's a huge problem. Many of the websites I visit do not have testimonials. No social currency. I don't get it. It's not too scary to ask, and I actually have a secret weapon inside the group who can do it for you. Those of you that don't want to ask, that are uncomfortable. You can go back 5 years if you need to. Don't worry about that. It's about their experience working with you. And the strategy starting session, we're going to draw for that. Anybody miss putting a card in? I thought so. All right, anybody else? Yeah, you missed, okay. Come on up, I'll put this on the seat right here. Uh-oh, it's gonna tip on over. So the live training bonus is for the Cocktail Club. This is a 30-day trial membership. The Cocktail Club is simply an email that I send out on Fridays to only the members. It's right, the ball right there. And it's accountability. You have a strategy, a story, and you have 4 questions. The 4 questions are the same each week. You reply the 4 questions, preferably at 5 o'clock when you're sitting back, having a beverage, saying, you know, I'm going to update Melissa now. And I get it, and I respond back to you. And I will respond with celebration and accolades for things that are wins. I will reply with support and streamlining on things that aren't. And I will reply with a bite-sized strategy when you've got a sticky that you can't get through. Now, I've got designers who use this, and I've got other designers who are in it and don't use it. I'll let you figure out who gets ahead. It's pretty simple. I only do this bonus at live trainings. There's no other way you can pick it up. And I don't even have this up on my website. I will eventually change that, but it's just a really cool opportunity for me to help you on a week-to-week basis in a tiny way via email. There's no phone calls, there's no club to join, there's no Facebook group for it. If you run our Facebook group, that's separate. But it's my way of being able to help you on a weekly basis instead of just making it whenever we can get together. So you have that opportunity. I have either forms you can complete, or if you want, I can pull up my Square and we can process right here, right now for that. And Goff, I met Goff at Vegas Market, where I did a time management training, and he literally calls me his guardian angel. I just think this is the cutest thing in the world. But he's got a team, and what he does is he sends me his update. He replies to his TCC email. Sometimes it's Friday, sometimes it's Tuesday, it doesn't matter to me. I respond back and he shares it with his team. And I've met the team because we're coaching. So we've had a couple Zoom conversations. They all know who I am. And they will take what I've said to him and make sure he applies it inside his business. Because he tends to be kind of famous for analysis paralysis. And the other challenge he has is his sweet spots are design and rainmaking. And he has this tendency to want to go off to his weaknesses, like project management, not his strong suit. And he actually came out with, he said, I'm going to hire another designer so I can project manage. And I literally was practically jumping up and down in my email. I'm like, God, no, what are you doing? Don't do that. So that's the tough love piece of it, because I had to pull him back from that edge. I'm like, that is not your strength. Please hire that out and enjoy the design, because that's what you love to do. You love design and rainmaking. Why would you cater to your weaknesses? So he's a lot of fun, as are everybody that I work with. So that's what the live training bonus is. And if you want to do it, you're welcome to. I'll be here for a few minutes, but we're going to do the raffle. And by the way, this does not have tickets on it, because this is a picture of the Raffles Hotel in Thailand. I've not been there yet. I've been to the one in Singapore many, many, many moons ago. Okay, I don't think I can draw for this myself. I don't think that's appropriate. And so somebody else is going to have to draw. You get 2 winners, and those 2 winners will also get a pair of my books, because I have 2, I am kind of crazy because I'm a content generator, so I have 2 books. I actually have 2 or 3 other ones too, but I didn't bring them with me today. So you've got Move It Forward, 31 Days to a More Prosperous You in Business and Life, and you've got Celebrate Your Life, and there's The Art of Celebrating Every Day. I have a revised version. I can't remember what title I had on this, so those are the books. So who wants to draw? We'll have one draw on this side and one draw on this side. Not that it's going to matter. It's not. And the strategy to start a session is 60 minutes with me by phone. I will review your site in advance of our meeting, and I will give you ideas around your site, how you can bring more of your personality and your star factor to that. And then we will also look at what's working in your business, what's not, how we can help you close the gap. Okay? All right.
Guthrie Interiors.
Emily Guthrie? Awesome! Awesome, awesome. Okay, and we're going to throw it in this side of the room. All right. Close your eyes.
I know, I have to hold it up. I was gonna pull yours out. I can't read it.
Uh-oh.
Too tiny.
Oh, okay. Wait a minute. Ellen Kern? No, sorry, I didn't have my glasses on either, so. Okay, Ellen, that worked out really well, didn't it? How did you do that? That's very cool, thank you. Okay, if y'all do have questions, I'm happy to answer questions on this, life, you know, dating, whatever you want to ask me. But I do have the TCC sheets if you want to complete one of these, or if you want me to run it right now, I'm happy to do that and give you a receipt with a cocktail. Okay? I have thoroughly enjoyed being here today. I appreciate your patience allowing me to go over a wee bit. And I hope to see you at another event. You actually have the rest of my training opportunities in the little brochure. So if I get to see you at another one, it'd be awesome. Thank you.